Hi crafty friends, Melissa Minor here, and I have a fun video for you today. I'm really excited to be joining the best creators on YouTube. These are my friends, and we have a YouTube hop on the second Friday of each month. And with that, we take turns picking a sketch, and so Kelly Baxter Fitzgerald from Snips by Kelly picked out this sketch for us, and she even included measurements, which I love. And this one challenged me a little bit. This is using paper scraps, and there is lots of layers, and I love it. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the papers I'm going to be using, and these are all from Shimmerz Paints. Now, Shimmerz Paints has a color kits, and this is their May 2024 color kits. I have some scraps here, but they're front and back designed heavyweight cardstock designs. You get 18 designs. There's 9 sheets total of coordinating papers that you can design with. You get pre-cut ephemera, shimmer stickers, a set of Shimmerz dots, and even that coloring sheet. So these are gorgeous. I love this monochromatic blue tone, and the pictures I'm going to be using are perfect for this. So I'm just showing you here some of the papers. Now, if you decide to place an order with Shimmerz Paints, if you add my name, Melissa Minor, to the comment section of your order, Shimmerz will send you a free gift, and it's usually like a little jar of paint. So I'm showing you here some of the ephemera that I've just put in my little stack and sort tray here, things that I'm thinking about using. I'm not really sure yet where I'm going with this layout. But I'm going to set these aside and hopefully use quite a bit of this on my page today. So starting with the sketch, I have the sketch there in the upper left-hand corner of my screen. It's not all the way on the screen, but I've taken the measurements that Kelly provided in the sketch, and I have used some of the papers. Now, some of these I did cut into, and some of them were pure scraps, so they're not exact. They're not exact measurements to what she provided, but they're pretty close. And this is really different for me. I don't usually cut different papers. I'm more of a kind of simple background with a picture and some embellishments. So this was really fun to get out of my comfort zone and use a bunch of different strips. And so you could definitely recreate this with whatever scraps you have. But what I've done here is I did add a little bit of cardstock from my stash. That's periwinkle there that I'm gluing down. It's a close to my heart cardstock. And I thought that that coordinated well with these, but you could use different scraps of paper, using them going horizontally and vertically to make your layout. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. There's lots of busy papers, but I love all the blue. And I was trying to decide here which color I wanted, and I think I want the more muted color here. So there we go. That is our background. That is it. I'm going to pull this up and move this over. I wanted to break up the dark blue next to the dark blue. So I'm going to rearrange these just a little bit so that I feel like it gives it a little more contrast with the striped one in the middle there. But that's the concept. Now here's my photo. This is me in a little boutique dressing room in St. Charles, Missouri, and the layout called for a 5x7, and it called for it horizontally, but I have a vertical photo. I guess I have portrait, and the other one called for landscape. And I didn't have a 5x7, so I went ahead and printed this 4x6, and then I did several matte layers. So I did a dark layer, a light, and then the cardstock layer, and the largest piece is 5x7. So I'm going to matte this here. But I was so excited to try on a dress. I've been dieting. Of course, that's always a struggle, right? But I'd lost 20 pounds recently. And so when my boyfriend and I were in St. Charles one weekend, we were going in all of the shops, and I went in one of the boutiques. I saw this dress on a mannequin, and I was like, I got to try it on. And I love it. I was so excited. And as you probably are aware, like if you lose weight, then you get really excited to try on new clothes. They fit different. And so I'm usually in leggings and a t-shirt. And so this was totally different for me. to wear a dress. So I bought it, had no idea where I was going to wear it, but I went ahead and bought it and I loved it. So I wanted to document that. And I thought these papers were perfect. I love the little blue stripes in the pattern paper and it matches my dress. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of mixed media. I have a pencil line there to show the outline of my photo, and I'm taking a Shimmerz Paints. This is a spritz in the color of Powder Puff, and I thought that this blue really matched the blues in the collection. Now, this Color Kits collection is still available on the Shimmerz website, and you can buy the paints individually as well. So this is Powder Puff, and I'm just using a paintbrush here, and I'm dipping it into the little jar here, and I'm putting some color down, and I really just kind of want to outline where the photo is going to go. I just want this little hint of blue peeking from behind my photos. I will put some embellishments, so a lot of this isn't going to show. Now I'm going back with a smaller paintbrush, and it's kind of hard to see on camera here, but I'm going back with a smaller detail brush, and I'm dipping the brush into the bottle of paint, and I'm adding some splatters. Ooh, that was a close one. I almost knocked over the paint. So I'm going to add a few splatters here, and then take a step back and look at it and see what I think. I'm going to bring in my photo here in just a moment and see how that looks. First, before I do that, I think I want to add a little bit more color, and the color I want to add now is in Inklings. Now in Inklings, you just spray with a little bit of water and you let it sit for a minute, and then the color comes alive, and Inklings have a high sheen and shimmer to them. And this one is called Burnished Buckle, and it looks a little dark here as I'm painting it on, but it will dry back a lot lighter. And this burnished buckle I thought was kind of like vintagey, and so I just want to put it in a few spots. You'll see that I did put that spot in the middle there. That's going to be behind my photo, and I was just testing it to make sure that I'm going to like it. So at first I think that I just want to put it in 2 spots and then add some splatters, and then later I'll come in and add, I realize that I do want more of that burnished buckle color showing. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. I really like the way that it shimmers and shines. So I think I want to add the darker color up around where my photo is going to be. And then I'll have more of that blue peeking out from behind my photos. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush here and go along the outline just to outline where that photo is going to be. And then, like I said, I've got that blue that'll be out peeking from behind that. So that's looking really good. And again, I'm adding some more splatters. Can't have enough splatters. And so I love adding these paints to my pages. It just gives it so much more texture and dimension, and it makes it awesome. All right, so now let me bring back in my photo, and I'm going to see where exactly I want to line this up. And let me move it over just a little bit because I want more of that burnished buckle showing. And then you see how the blue just kind of radiates from behind that. I really like the way that looks. So I'm just trying to decide here if that's the way I like it, and I do. So I'm going to grab some craft foam here, and this is just cheap craft foam. I added a little bit of glue to the back of it, and then I'm putting it in the center of my photo and pressing it down. Now I'm going to add a couple blocks here just to hold my photo down so that gets adhered nicely. Now I'm going to start playing with the embellishments, and I spend quite a bit of time on this, so I have sped this up. These are some flowers. These flowers are so pretty. I fussy cut these from one of the papers that came in the color kits. And I like doing that because when you do that, it matches your pages and everything. It just matches perfectly. And so that's one of the things I like about the color kits too, is that, you know, everything just coordinates together. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to the back of some of these flowers. And I really like that blue flower. I want to add this pop of this white flower back here, and it's got the leaves, so I really like that. I have some flowers on my desk, more of the ones with dimension, And I thought at first I wanted to add those, but then after I got to looking at it, I just don't think that the color match is perfect for it. They didn't come with this kit. I just grabbed those from my stash, and I was kind of thinking about adding them, but I changed my mind. So I know I want a floral cluster in the bottom right, and then I think I want another cluster up here in the upper left to just kind of draw your eye diagonally across the page. And so I'm going to continue adding some more floral pieces that I fussy cut, and some of them are kind of like square on the edges, so I'm being careful to kind of tuck those in around my photo so that you won't see those little square edges. And here's another one of those white flowers. Since I have a white flower in the bottom cluster, I wanted to even that out and add one to this top cluster. So I'll mess around with that. And then I'm going to continue picking through my ephemera. Now I love this frame, and so I know I want to add that, and that kind of reminds me of the mirror, right? So I thought that that kind of looked like a little mirror like in the boutiques. So I thought that was super cute to add, and it fits just right in this space perfectly. So I'm going to overlap it a little bit, not onto my photo, but onto my backing of my photo there. And then I'm going to continue adding some more florals just to really build up these clusters. And I'm picking through the ephemera here just to see what else I want to use. And I like the way that that flower looks. So I'm going to add this one with some more foam tape. Now I have different levels of foam tape. So I'm using some strips, I'm using some squares, I'm using some actual craft foam. Lots of different varieties so that everything's not at the same level. I want it different levels. So this bottom cluster needs a little work. I think it's kind of squared off. So I want to add this white flower here to break that up, and that looks cute. And then I'm going to cover up the flower I already have there and add another one here. And we'll add that at the bottom. And that looks good. So I like that. And then I was thinking about adding the camera, but I think the camera is going to look better over there on the little mirror. I'm calling it a mirror, even though it's just a little frame. And then there's some good wordy bits in here. Good times, there's the best ever. So I'm going to decide on good times. And here's where I'm trying those flowers, but you see how the color is kind of off? I really thought when I started this layout I was going to use those, but then I don't. Oh, look at this little piece of ephemera that came in the pack. This is like a little perfume bottle, and even though it's pink and I don't have any pink on the layout, I had to use it. I just thought it was perfect, and it reminded me of the boutique. Now I set that flare, that's what those buttons are called. So I've learned that recently, that the like epoxy type buttons, epoxy circles, those are called flare. So I'm going to use that, and it says so happy, and I was so happy this day. So I'm going to set that aside and think about that. And I'm going to continue building these clusters. I'm going to add a few leaves just to give that a little more color. And I'm going to try to add this leaf over here, and then I decide, I don't really like that. I'm going to add some leaves to the top. So I'll end up adding it to this upper cluster up here. So there we go. That looks nice. And I'm going to continue looking through the ephemera. I feel like this flower at the bottom is kind of squared off, and so I'm really trying to put something there, and I can't figure out what I want to put there. But I like this heart, and so I think I'm going to add this heart over here. And I'm even trying to put the title there, and no, I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add the heart and then glue down my camera. And I'm going to pop that up, and I added my wordy bit there, good times. And then I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do with that little squared off flower. So I'm going to audition like every piece of ephemera that's in this pack over here, and nothing seems right. So off camera, I did add some more items. You'll see in the upper left of the photo, I added like a little clock and a bird and the word best ever. And I added a couple blue butterflies, one at the upper left and then one just above the good times. And here I'm adding some thread. This is just some thread from Walmart. I have different colors. And I'm making like a little sandwich here with the flare that says "So Happy," and I'm adding it behind the little flare dot. And then I've got this other one that's a heart, and I did the same thing in this upper left-hand corner. So I love the way that that ends up looking. I'm still thinking about this square flower down here and not happy with it. But I ended up finding this little piece of ephemera, and it's kind of like a little, I don't know if you want to call it like a little letter or something, but I thought it went with the vibe. And so I'm happy now. I have something covering that spot. Now I'm going back in with my paintbrush. I thought that I needed to see a little bit more of the blue. So I'm going back in with the powder puff color and just adding a little bit more blue. I want some more blue to peek out from behind this embellishment cluster. As you can see, most of my embellishments covered up my mixed media, and I really want that mixed media look. So I'm adding just a little bit more paint under and around my cluster here, just so that will pop. And it's, you know, this blue is real subtle, but I love the way it looks on the page. So I'm going to continue adding the blue all around these clusters and until I'm happy with the way that that looks. Super easy. And then of course some more splatters. And so I'm just dipping my paintbrush into the color and adding a few more splatters, and they're real subtle. Real subtle. And then I decide to take the nozzle out of the paint bottle, and I'm adding some larger splatters here, but they will dry back lighter. Now I'm taking some gems and adding some gems. I have 3 in the upper left-hand corner, and I have 3 in the lower right-hand corner. Now I love the way this page turned out. It's a little more busy than most of my scrapbook layouts, and Kelly's design does have a second page layout. And so off camera, I went ahead and created a double page. And the reason I did a double page is because after I got this all prettied up, I thought that there really wasn't room for my journaling. And so I have some more photos to document with this story. And so I made a second page off camera, did the same design following her sketch. I've got the strips going up, the strips going down, and then I used a die to cut my journaling strips. I love this die. I'll link it down below in the description box, but this is perfect for journaling. And, you know, not just white strips, you can cut it out of your pattern paper. I thought that the white would really, you know, just be too bright, so I used the pattern paper or the colored cardstock and cut these out and then wrote my journaling. You'll see to the upper left photo there of that right-hand page, I added some more paint, and then I added another epoxy dot in the bottom right, and just a few embellishments. I was out of flowers, but you don't need to heavily embellish the right-hand page if you have your left-hand page heavily embellished. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I will have a playlist. Be sure to check out all of my friends' pages to see how they've interpreted the sketch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Bye!